The dust rose thick and bitter along the main road of Dry Creek, clinging to the air like the town itself was holding its breath. People said the land here was cursed. Hard soil, harder hearts, but no one dared speak it aloud. In a shack at the edge of town, Sarah Whitmore knelt on the dirt floor, blood drying at her lip. Her arms wrapped tightly around her two daughters. Emma was 7, Lily barely 4. Their eyes were wide, silent, already learning. The terrible lesson that this land taught women early: survive. Quietly or not at all. The beating had ended only moments ago. The men were gone. Her late husband's brothers, angry, drunk, and ashamed that Sarah had given them no sons to carry the Whitmore name. Useless woman, they'd spat. 2 girls. That's all you gave him. Then came fists, boots, and laughter. Now only the wind remained, howling through broken boards as Sarah whispered prayers she wasn't sure God still heard. She had once believed in hope, once believed love was enough. Her husband, Thomas Whitmore, had been kind, one of the rare men who smiled at daughters, the way others smiled at sons. But he'd been trampled under a spooked horse 2 winters ago, and kindness died with him. Since then the town had turned its back. Work dried up, food became scarce, and worst of all, the Whitmore brothers returned, claiming the land and her obedience as their right. Sarah refused. Tonight was the punishment. She wiped her face, forcing strength into her shaking hands. "It's all right," she lied softly to her girls. "Mama's here." But inside, fear screamed louder than the wind. Miles away, a lone rider cut through the plains as dusk bled into night. His name was Cole Ransom, a cowboy with a past etched deep into his eyes. He wasn't running from the law. He'd already paid his debts in blood and loss, but he wasn't riding toward anything either. Since the war ended, Cole drifted from town to town, working cattle drives, sleeping under stars, and keeping people at a distance. He'd seen what cruelty looked like when men believed strength meant domination. He'd sworn never to be one of them. His horse slowed as Dry Creek appeared ahead, lanterns flickering like dying stars. He hadn't planned to stop, but something tugged at him, an unease he couldn't shake. At the saloon, laughter burst through swinging doors. Inside, whiskey flowed and voices bragged loud. Cole took a seat near the wall, eyes sharp, listening more than drinking. That's when he heard it. "Teach that widow a lesson," a man laughed. "Woman should know her place. Birthing girls like that." Another spat on the floor. "Should be grateful we didn't leave her dead." Cole's grip tightened on his glass. His jaw hardened. He stood slowly, boots echoing in sudden silence. "Which widow?" he asked, voice calm but edged with steel. The men turned, smirks fading when they met his gaze. One answered with a shrug. "Whitmore woman, shack near the creek." Cole didn't say another word. He turned and walked out. The moon was high when Cole reached the shack. He dismounted quietly, the scene before him twisting something deep in his chest. Broken boards, blood on the ground. Inside, a woman huddled over 2 girls, trying to be a shield with a broken body. Cole knocked once, gently. Sarah flinched, fear flashing in her eyes as she reached for a rusted knife. "Please," she whispered, voice cracking. "We have nothing left to give." Cole raised his hands. "I'm not here to take," he said softly. "I'm here because someone hurt you." Silence hung heavy. Finally she nodded, and he stepped inside. Cole built a fire, cleaned her wounds with practiced care, and gave the girls his coat when he saw them shivering. Sarah watched him closely, suspicion battling exhaustion. "Why?" she finally asked. Cole stared into the flames. "Because I've seen what happens when no one stands up," he said, "and I won't be part of that anymore." Outside, the wind howled like a warning. Inside, something fragile but powerful sparked. Hope, reborn in the most unlikely place. Before dawn, hoofbeats thundered in the distance. The Whitmore brothers were coming back, and this time they wouldn't leave empty-handed. If you're feeling the tension rise and want to know what happens next, make sure you subscribe now, because Chapter 2 brings justice, courage, and a wild West reckoning you won't forget. The first shout shattered the morning calm. Cole was already on his feet, rifle in hand. He looked at Sarah, who stood pale but unbroken, daughters clinging to her skirt. "Stay behind me," he said. She shook her head. "I've been behind people all my life," she replied. "Not today." The Whitmore brothers rode up with sneers carved into their faces. 5 men, armed, confident. The leader spat into the dirt. "Step aside, cowboy. This don't concern you." Cole stepped forward instead. "It concerns me when men beat a woman for giving life," he said. "Right away." Laughter followed. Then a gunshot cracked the air. The fight was fast, brutal, and final. Cole moved like a man who had nothing left to lose and everything to protect. Dust and smoke filled the air. When it ended, 2 brothers lay wounded, one unconscious, the rest fleeing into the plains. Cole stood breathing hard, blood trickling from his brow. Sarah stared, stunned, not by the violence, but by the fact that someone had chosen her worth over his safety. Townsfolk emerged slowly, shame written across their faces. They had heard the beatings before. They had looked away. Now they couldn't. The sheriff arrived late, as usual, but this time the story didn't get buried. Witnesses spoke. Accusations stood. The Whitmore brothers were arrested, not as owners of the land, but as criminals. For the first time since Thomas's death, Sarah felt the ground steady beneath her feet. Days passed. Cole stayed. He fixed the shack, hunted food, taught Emma how to ride and Lily how to laugh again. At night, Sarah and Cole talked by the fire, about loss, about fear, about the courage it takes to keep going. She saw the scars on his back, the ones not from whips or knives, but from guilt and regret. He saw her strength, forged through pain, shining brighter than gold. The town changed slowly. Men lowered their eyes when Sarah passed, not in shame, but in respect. Work came, help came, and one morning Cole saddled his horse. Sarah felt the familiar ache of goodbye rise in her chest. "You don't have to leave," she said quietly. Cole looked at the girls, then at her. "I've been running a long time," he said. "Maybe it's time I stood for something." He untied the horse and let the reins fall. The girls cheered. Sarah smiled through tears. In the Wild West, glory wasn't found in gold or guns, it was found in choosing. Compassion when cruelty was easier, in standing up when others turned away, and in believing that daughters were not a curse, but a legacy stronger than any name. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you that courage still matters, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. More powerful Wild West stories are coming, and you won't want to miss them.